Hi, Internet.
Happy birthday.
It's not anybody's birthday today. I don't know why she said that. But it's my son's birthday tomorrow. He'll be 8 years old. That is irrelevant to tonight. Because tonight we're here for another Grim Fairy Tale. It's going to be an interesting one. It's not one I'm familiar with. It's called Little Red Cap. I'm assuming it's about a tiny person who wears a red hat. But I could be wrong. It could be about a very big person with a blue toga. Because Grim Fairy Tales don't always say what they mean, I think. But it's not as bad as Wizard of Oz, so we'll see. Tonight is Little Red Cap. Let's read, shall we? Once upon a time, there was a dear little girl who was loved by everyone who looked at her, but most of all by her grandmother, and there was nothing that she would not have given to the child. Once she gave her a little cap of red velvet, which suited her so well that she would never wear anything else. I feel like she should wear shirts and pants. So she was always called Little Red Cap. Well, if it's the only thing she's wearing, I guess. But I feel like shirts and pants would be appropriate. And maybe occasionally shoes and socks. If she's going to be outdoors. But what do I know? One day, her mother said to her, "Come, Little Red Cap. Here is a piece of cake and a bottle of wine. Take them to your grandmother. She is ill and weak, and they will do her good. Set out before it gets hot, and when you are going, walk nicely and quietly, and do not run off the path, or you may fall and break the bottle. Then your grandmother will get nothing. And when you go into a room, don't forget to say, 'Good morning,' and don't peep into every corner before you do it." "I will take great care," said Little Red Cap to her mother, and gave her hand on it. I don't know what that means. The grandmother lived out in the wood, half a league from the village, and just as Little Red Cap entered the wood, a wolf met her. Is Little Red Cap Little Red Riding Hood?
Mm-hmm.
I know this story, but I don't think I know the Grim Fairy Tale version. I feel like somebody's going to get eaten. By a wolf.
It's going to be great.
Red Cap did not know what a wicked creature he was, and was not at all afraid of him. "Good day, Little Red Cap," said he. "Thank you kindly, Wolf." "Where do you go so early, Little Red Cap?" "To my grandmother's." "Cake and... what have you got in your apron?" "Cake and wine. Yesterday was baking day, so poor sick grandmother is to have something good to make her stronger." "Where does your grandmother live, Little Red Cap?" "A good quarter of a league farther on in the wood. Her house stands under 3 large oak trees. The nut trees are just below. You surely must know it," replied Little Red Cap. The wolf thought to himself, "What a tender young creature! What a nice plump mouthful! She will be better to eat than the old woman. I must act craftily so as to catch them both." So he walked for a short time by the side of Little Red Cap, and then he said, "What am I hearing?"
Sorry, I was getting out my lunchbox so I don't forget it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Are you done? Okay. So he walked for a short time by the side of Little Red Cap, and then he said, "See, Little Red Cap, how pretty the flowers are about here. Why do you not look around? I believe, too, that you do not hear how sweetly the little birds are singing. You walk gravely along as if you were going on to school, while everything else out here in the woods is merry." Little Red Cap raised her eyes, and when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there through the trees, and pretty flowers growing everywhere, she thought, "Suppose I take grandmother a fresh nosegay. That would please her, too. It is so early in the day that I shall get there in good time." And so she ran from the path into the wood to look for flowers, and whenever she picked one that she fancied, that she saw still a prettier one farther on, and ran after it, and so got deeper and deeper into the wood. Remember, her mother told her, "Don't leave the path." Her mother was very clear, don't leave the path. This is what happens when children don't listen to their parents. They get eaten by wolves. I felt I needed to express that sentiment to my children. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to grandmother's house and knocked at the door. "Who is there?" Little Red Cap," replied the wolf. "She is bringing cake and wine. Open the door." "Lift the latch." called out the grandmother. "I am too weak and cannot get up." The wolf lifted the latch. The door flew open. Without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and devoured her.
Oh.
Then he put on her clothes, dressed himself in her cap, laid himself in bed, and drew the curtains. Little Redcap, however, had been running about picking flowers, and when she'd gathered so many that she could carry no more, she remembered her grandmother and set out on the way to her. She was surprised to find the cottage door standing open, and when she went into the room, she had such a strange feeling that she said to herself, "Oh dear, how uneasy I feel today, and at other times I like being with grandmother so much." She called out, "Good morning," but received no answer, so she went to bed and drew back the curtains. There lay her grandmother with her cap pulled far over her face and looking very strange. "Oh, grandmother," said she, "what big ears you have." The better to hear you with, my child," was the reply. "But, grandmother, what big eyes you have," she said. The better to see you with, my dear." "But, grandmother, what large hands you have." "The better to hug you with." "Oh, but, grandmother, what a terrible big mouth you have." "Better to eat you with." And scarcely had the wolf said this than with one bound he was out of bed and had swallowed up Redcap. I feel like that should be the end of the story, but there's another page and a half.
What?
When the wolf had appeased his appetite, he lay down again in the bed, fell asleep, and began to snore very loudly. A hunter was just passing the house and thought to himself, "How the old woman is snoring! I must see if she needs anything." So he went into the room, and when he came to the bed, he saw the wolf was lying in it. "Do I find you here, you old sinner?" said he. "I have long sought you." Then, just as he was going to fire at him, occurred to him that the wolf might have devoured the grandmother, and she might still be saved.
How?
So he did not fire, but took a pair of scissors and began to cut open the stomach of the sleeping wolf. When he had made 2 snips more, and the little girl sprang out, crying, "Ah, how frightened I have been! How dark it was inside the wolf!" And after that, the aged grandmother came out alive also, but scarcely able to breathe. Well, thus she was dead. Redcap, however, quickly fetched great stones with which they filled the wolf's body, and when he awoke, he wanted to run away, but the stones were so heavy that he fell down at once and fell dead. Then all 3 were delighted. The hunter drew off the wolf's skin and went home with it. The grandmother ate the cake and drank the wine which Redcap had brought and revived. But Redcap thought to herself, "As long as I live, I will never by myself leave the path to run into the wood when my mother has forbidden me to do so." There's still a half a page, and I don't know why. It is also related that once when Redcap was again taking cakes to the old grandmother, another wolf spoke to her and tried to entice her from the path. Redcap, however, was on her guard and went straight forward on her way and told her grandmother she'd met the wolf and that he had said good morning to her, but with such a wicked look in his eyes that if they had not been on a public road, she was certain he would have eaten her up. "Well," said the grandmother, "we will shut the door, that he may not come in." Soon afterward the wolf knocked and cried, "Open the door, grandmother, I'm little Redcap, and I'm fetching some cakes." But they did not speak or open the door, so the greybeard stole twice or thrice around the house, and at last jumped up on the roof, intending to wait until Redcap went home in the evening, and then to steal after her and devour her in the darkness. But the grandmother saw what was in his thoughts. In front of the house was a great stone trough, so she said to the child, "Take the pail, Redcap, I made some sausages yesterday. So carry the water in which I boiled them to the trough." Redcap carried until the great trough was quite full. Then the smell of the sausages reached the wolf, and he sniffed and peeped down, and at last stretched out his neck so that he could no longer keep his footing, and began to slip, and slipped down from the roof straight into the great trough and drowned. But Redcap went joyously home and never did anything to harm anyone.
Okay, I have like 100 questions. First off, does that wolf not chew? Secondly,
I don't know why the wolf did not chew them. I don't know how the stomach acids did not eat through the red cap and the grandmother. Now, I mean, red cap was apparently nude except her red cap. So it's not like her clothing would have been eaten by the stomach acid. Because it said she never wore anything but the red cap. It said that like twice. And I'm like, I feel like pants would be appropriate. Maybe a shirt. I don't know. But that was a weird one. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll be back here tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Facebook Live, I think. Yes. And we'll have another story. Good night.